Come, let us savor tantric chanting and effortless meditation. Whoops. Let us practice our first of three mindfulness sets of mindfulness and meditation, which are the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. In Tibet, this is known as slicing through the obscurations to our Buddha nature. It sounds terribly lofty, doesn't it? We're going to begin with by using energy work as a preliminary practice. This is known as bliss and letting go in Sanskrit as Anu Yoga and in Tibetan as Tikle. That's the general category. The specific exercise in Tibet is known as Lama Kyenno, which translates into English as calling the Lama from afar. And despite the grooviness of its name, our task does not demand faith or visualization. On the quick path to enlightenment, which is also the lazy path to enlightenment, all we're going to do is chant 6 syllables, mostly in English. This might be easier if you join me on the clock app. When you do, on the page you'll see a photograph of a bronze statue, which represents us, the meditator. And up over the statue's head you'll see a painting of a Buddha. And that represents either our teacher or the teachings, whichever you feel most comfortable with. We're going to chant Lama come to pay crown. Pay is a seed syllable or a one-syllable mantra that is kind of like the express train or the bullet train to get our energy to coalesce the crown of our head. To accentuate that process, as we utter the syllable pay, we're going to snap our fingers over our head like a rude patron in a restaurant. Together. Lama come to pay crown. Lama come to pay crown. Lama come to pay crown. The most efficient way to practice mindfulness, which is simply noticing vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, is to silently and mentally recite the verb watch each time we feel air enter our nostrils. Similarly, the most efficient way for us to practice meditation, which is simply relaxing in harmony with our exhalation, is for us to silently and mentally recite the verb rest each time we feel air exit our nostrils. Unless you have a stuffy nose, then replace the word nostril with the word mouth. Like yours truly. You are not in this alone. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. And now, together as a team, let us sit and breathe and watch and rest. Okay, good morning, Jumpa. I hope you got my last bit of advice I sent you last week. Yes, what does it mean to passively watch? Jumpa, that's a great question. To answer it, I'm going to revert to some visual aids because that's how I roll. Oops, got to push the right button in the right sequence because that makes life easier. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. And yes, while all of us have been conditioned by our genes to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, a minority of us strain and reach to evolve beyond that, and to instead be flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Sadly, 90% of humanity, including 90% of meditation teachers, are defined by being rigid and controlling, and it should therefore come as a little surprise that these are the guys who implore us to actively focus and actively analyze. And the only way to do that is by overusing, overworking our dorsolateral and medial prefrontal cortex. That comes at a hefty price. Overworking the front of our brain, abusing the front of our brain, forces us to present with symptoms of depression, as well as triggers our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. So you can have a heart as big as the day is long. You can want to be peaceful. You can want to be loving. But if the path that you take to get to that destination is paved with an unsustainable neurological practice, you won't get there. It's kind of like making love in the name of virginity. It's a fun way to spend an afternoon, but it's going to take you further away from your goal. Fortunately, luckily, I've got some good news. Neither our amygdala nor our prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Enter the simple spinal cord. Its fancy name is our autonomic nervous system. Let's discuss its two primary components. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are wired to automatically access the middle bit of our spinal cord, known as the sympathetic nervous system. It has evolved to automatically get us to notice in a very special way. Instead of watching in an active and rigid and controlling way, it gets us to notice vulnerably and passively and viscerally and randomly and fleetingly. Therefore, because it's random, we notice mind's antics. We notice sights and sounds and sensations and flavors and sights. We notice the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. We notice all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. Remember, the fundamental duality that the Buddha railed against was not good versus bad. It was not you versus me. The fundamental duality the Buddha railed against was pushing versus pulling, dread versus desire, hope versus fear. And so the ultimate non-duality is remedial. It doesn't say, hey man, if you're truly spiritual, you won't be able to tell the difference between dog-eat-doo and chocolate. No, that's insane. What it's saying is we have the universal remedy so that whatever we experience, whether it's pleasurable or painful or interesting or boring, we have the exact same strategy, and that is to watch and rest in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation, which serve as a type of metronome. Our job is not to focus on our breath. Our job is not to control our breath, its length or depth. Our job is just to groove with it, like a guitarist in a band syncing up with the rhythm of the drummer. That's what's going on. And so it's a very, very passive process where we exercise the courage to be vulnerable. And so this silent meditation very much is like riding a roller coaster or going on a funhouse ride. We could experience memories, we could experience fantasies, we can experience the marriage of the two called a confabulation. We can experience all manner of things, all manner of sensations and feelings, and even we can even experience boredom. And so what we do is regardless of what our fleeting momentary experiences, we persist with the natural practice of watching and resting. Now, we don't have to force that because watching is already latent to the middle part of our spinal cord. Resting is already latent to the bottom bit and the top bit of our spinal cord, known as the parasympathetic nervous system. So the great irony is that the key to enlightenment, the key to mastering the Buddha's path in as little as 7 days is not in gutting it out. It's the contrary. It's in stopping our fighting and at last cooperating, passively cooperating with our autonomic nervous system. Now, many people get scared and they say, but if I do that, what's to stop, if I passively observe my anger or my hatred, what's going to stop me from being controlled by that? Simple. Check this out. A fringe benefit of relaxing in harmony with our parasympathetic nervous system during each exhalation is that it calms our amygdala, it calms and it gently stimulates our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy. So we don't have to concentrate on empathy. We don't have to tell ourselves stories in order to manipulate ourselves to feel guilty or pity for people. All we have to do is vulnerably watch what's going on and rest in harmony with our breathing, and automatically we will experience enhanced empathy, enhanced kindness in all areas of our being, in our intention towards others, in our communication with others, in our conduct towards others, and even in our commerce with others. Additionally, and this is really cool, by passively cooperating with our autonomic nervous system, our choices and our utterances and our deeds will flow not from the calculated contrivances, not from wild scatteredness, but from centered spontaneity. This thing right here. So that is how we practice. That is how we blend sitting and breathing with watching and resting. Oof. If you, like me, are prone to arthritis, I invite you to gently adjust your legs every 15 minutes or so. let us exercise the view of reality that supports letting go. The first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path that has been nicknamed leaping over pride. If you wish to chat with me, I invite you to join me on the Clock app. I guess, let's see, where is my, to get to my homepage and my list, to get to the link to join me on the Clock app. That lives in the house that Jack built. Okay, so here we go. Rather than indulge our controlling tendencies with the follies of active visualization, emotion, magic, and belief, we could just recite these wise words in harmony with our breathing and allow our subconscious to do the heavy lifting. Let us therefore sidestep the rigidity that confuses metaphors or statements literal, and instead relax into the flexibility that savors that chance explaining metaphors as similes. Okay, so this is known as Tokal or Mahayoga or love and letting go. Emphasizing letting go. We leap over pride's circumstantial obstructions to omniscience, or in other words, we're going to bring the circumstantial into the path of the wisdom of letting go. Let's chant. All circumstances or lots could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this body or form. And yes, we are harnessing our natural self-centeredness to use it productively. Our chanting was ungainly, and so we're going to condense it into a 6-syllable synopsis, which we're going to recite half during the inhalation, half during the exhalation. All lots melt into form. Thanks for the love. Now let us bring the physical into the path of letting go. All bodies or forms could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this communication or speech. Let us now silently and mentally recite the 6-syllable synopsis. During the inhalation, all forms melt. During the exhalation, into breath. Into speech. Now let us drag the interpersonal into the path of the wisdom of letting go. All interpersonal communication or speech could be as impermanent and interdependent as if it could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this mind. As we breathe in, all speech melts. As we breathe out, into mind. Let us bring our experience of the mental into the path of the wisdom of letting go. All lucid perceiving, emoting, intending, thinking, recalling, and imagining minds could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into our vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, could be not graspable to the hand. What is the synopsis? All minds melt into void. We return to mindfulness and meditation, the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, also known as slicing through the obscurations to our Buddha nature. This time we are returning to our second of two energy work preliminary practices, or tikle, or bliss and letting go, or anu yoga, whichever language you prefer. This specific exercise in Tibet is known as Lama Naljour, which translates as blending with the teacher's mind. When you join me on the clock app, you will see a photograph of a bronze statue representing us, the meditator. Superimposed over its chest, you will see a painting of a red Buddha that represents either the teachings or our teacher, whichever we prefer. Thrice we will chant the following 6 words. Lama, blend with this mind. No. This is not an act of devotion. This requires no faith and absolutely no visualization. If all we do is play with these words, that is enough. Lama, blend with this mind. Lama, blend with this mind. Lama, blend with this mind. Each time we feel our chest swell with inhalation, silently and mentally we can recite the verb watch. Every time we feel our chest subtly sink with exhalation, silently and mentally we can recite the verb rest. You might find it helpful to rest the great knuckle at the base of your right middle finger upon the tip of its left middle finger, palms up in your lap. Now we turn our attention to loving kindness, the second through fifth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, nicknamed leaping over jealousy. Let us chant an explanation of this 10-syllable mantra. Once again, if you wish to chant with me, you're welcome to join me on the clock app. Om Almachatara, the swift and courageous, with Tutara you drive away all fears. Heroine with Ture, fulfilling all aims with Soha, may all be as beneficial as you. In our practice of love and letting go, let us now drag the mental into the path of loving kindness, which is the second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all minds of all beings now be as joyfully enlightened as the mind of a real or imagined Buddha, symbolized by a bija, one syllable seed mantra tamoti drop. The 6-syllable synopsis, divided between our inhalation and exhalation, would be bija wise for all minds. During our inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite all 6 syllables, bija wise for all minds. During our exhalation, we can physically relax as best we can while striving to chant 4 repetitions of the 10-syllable mantra per breath for a total of 8 breaths. And please, if this is your first rodeo, give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa. Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa, Om Tare Du Nani Nuri Suwa. Now let us bring the interpersonal into the path of love, the third fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all relationships, communication, or speech of all beings now be as peacefully loving as a Real or imagined Buddhist speech or communication symbolized by this horizontal 10-syllable mantra. Mantra love for all speech. During our inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite mantra love for all speech. During our exhalation, let us physically relax as best we can, while simultaneously striving to chant this 10-syllable mantra 4 times per breath for a total of 8 breaths. Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa. Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa. Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa. Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa. Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa. Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa. Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa. Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa, Om Dade Du Dade Du Re Suwa. Now let us bring our experience of the physical into the path of loving kindness, the fourth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all bodies or forms of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddha's statuary. Of the blissful body of a Devi or your Dharma archetype of enlightenment such as Green Tata. Yidam health for all forms. As we inhale, please silently and mentally recite Yidam health for all forms, and as we exhale, let us physically relax as best we can while striving to recite the 10-syllable mantra 4 times per breath for a total of 8 breaths. One moment. So let's see. Okay. Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa. Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa. Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa. Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa. Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa. Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa. Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa. Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa. Fourthly, let us bring the circumstantial into the path of loving kindness, the fifth fold of the Buddha's eightfold path. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have the safety, good fortune, or boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined parat as per land or vati. Vati boon for all lots. So we're not telling ourselves this is how it is. This is not an affirmation. This is not a visualization. It is nothing more than a wish blended with a metaphor. As we breathe in, let us silently and mentally recite Vati Boon for all lots, appearing at void. As we exhale, let us physically relax as best we can as we strive to chant this 10-syllable mantra 4 times per breath, for a total of 8 breaths. Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa. Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa, Om Dane Dane Nuri Sawa. Om Dane Dane dare do this wa. Om 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 dare do this wa. As our chest swells, let us silently and mentally recite watch. As our chest sinks, let us silently and mentally recite rest. In our compassion may we long to free all beings from the toxic tyranny of ever. Hating, craving, and clinging, metaphorically known as the three mental poisons. In our pragmatism may our liberation of all others be fueled by following the Buddha's example, applying his instructions, and cooperating with his students, described by the metaphor of the three wish-fulfilling jewels. Having sat for the better part of an hour, we might find it invigorating to conversationally recite the 8-syllable synopsis, "May we free all through thee, three jewels," while performing what I like to describe as spooky squat thrusts. This is completely optional. Woof. Okay, here we go. Woof. Okay, here we go. Half heel squat. May we. Full heel squat. Free all. Toe full squat. Through the advance. Lower. Chamber. Reverse. Recoil. On the balls of our feet. Up to our tippy toes. 3 jewels. May we free all through the advanced board. Three jewels. Final time, make it count. May we free all through the 3 jewels. Let us conclude by reciting the wishes for the preservation of the Buddha's teachings. Mage meditation teacher truly understand the Buddha's teachings. Oh, I forgot something. My mistake. So, having returned to a sitting position, we can do something similar to a cobbler's pose. We can rest each heel of our foot against the other. We can, with our left hand, clasp our left shin with our right hand, clasp our right, and row. All right. May each meditation teacher truly understand the Buddha's teachings and practice master as well as teach them generously, lovingly, and wisely in the manner of centered spontaneity. May each meditation teacher spontaneously receive generous patrons, enthusiastic students, as well as devoted apprentices. And thus may many Dharma centers be successfully planted, nurtured, and flourish. Wrong button. Here we go. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's brunch, tantric chanting, as well as effortless meditation. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.